Jefferson County Court Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session with the arraignment docket. First case is called number 23-CCCR 1423. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Steve Lacayo Dublin. Please come forward. Yes, right in front of the bench. Mr. Dublin, your full name is Steve Lacayo Dublin?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dublin, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Dublin, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
You may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Dublin?
Trying to be all right there.
You trying to be all right?
Yes, lost my mom, man.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. You have my condolences. Now, Mr. Dublin, I have before me a document that is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. Do you recognize this document?
Yes,
And is this your signature on the line that's
Yes.
titled Defendant?
yes, sir.
And are these your initials on the line that states you want to reset this case to hire your own attorney?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Dublin, before you signed and initialed this document, did you read the document? Did you read the document?
I was hearing what you were saying.
Okay. Now, do you have any problems reading? You do? Okay, just have a seat. And we're gonna have someone to go over this document with you because we want to make sure that you understand what you signed. Okay? I know you said you heard what I had to say. Have a seat in that chair right there by the table. Yeah. Next case is Juan Jesus Figueroa. Mr. Figueroa, your full name is Juan Jesus Figueroa. Mr. Figueroa, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Figueroa, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Mr. Figueroa, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Figueroa? You doing good? Okay, now, Mr. Figueroa, I have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor, well, that's titled Jefferson County Affidavit, well, Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Are these your initials on the line that state you'd like to have this case reset to hire your own attorney? Now, Mr. Figueroa, before you signed and initialed this document, did you read the document?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand what you read?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Figueroa, your case is going to be reset to give you time to hire your own attorney. Our court coordinator is going to give you the reset. Once you get the reset from our court coordinator, you'll be free to go. And before we do that, I need to give you, have the bailiff to give you a document that is titled Standard Bond Conditions in County Court at Law number 2. Mr. Figueroa, the bailiff just handed you a document that is titled Standard Bond Conditions in County Court at Law number 2. Do you see that title?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go over this document with you. And the document states, following the arrest and or accusation in County Court at Law number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein are ordered subject to the following additional conditions. Number 1, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state or any other state. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
Condition number 2, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol, and the test indicates the presence of drugs or alcohol in the defendant's body. You understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
And condition number 3, defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim of the pending offense, and the defendant shall not go near any residence, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
Now, condition number 4 does not apply because it only applies in a DWI case, and your case is not a DWI case. Now, Mr. Figueroa, if you violate any one of these bond conditions, your bond may be revoked, and if your bond is revoked, a warrant will be issued for your arrest, and you'll be placed in the Jefferson County Jail. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Mr. Figueroa, you're gonna have a seat in that first chair by the wall, okay? And then our court coordinator will reset your case. Once your case is reset, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next case is cause number 23CCCR0290. Case is filed the state of Texas versus Tiffany Ashley Zamora. Ms. Zamora, your full name is Tiffany Ashley Zamora?
Yes.
Ms. Zamora, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Zamora, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Ms. Zamora, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Ms. Zamora?
Okay.
That's good. Ms. Zamora, I have before me 2 documents. The first document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without an Attorney. You recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
And are these your initials on the line that state you like to apply for court-appointed attorney? I also have a document that is titled Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled Defendant Signature. Is this your signature?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Zamora, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read the documents?
Yes.
Did you understand what you read? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Zamora, I read your answers. Based on your answers, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. The attorney that will be appointed to represent you in this case is Attorney Tom Burbank. Attorney Burbank will be given information to contact you, and you will also be given information to contact him. Our court coordinator will give you that information. Once she gives you that information, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. Please have a seat in that first chair by the wall. Finish.
Change it to apply for.
Oh, let me see, Giles got the other person. Steve Dublin. Okay, Mr. Dublin. I have before me two documents. The first document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Now, let me do this here. Raise your hand. I need to swear you in again. Mr. Dublin, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Dublin, you may put your hand down. Now, Mr. Dublin, on this document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without an Attorney. Do you recognize this document? You have to speak up.
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's
Yes, sir.
titled defendant? Now, at first you stated that you wanted to hire your attorney, but you changed your mind. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're requesting that the court appoint an attorney to represent you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I also have before me a document that is titled Jefferson County Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled defendant's signature. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Dublin, before you signed and initiated these documents, you had our court personnel to go over these documents with you. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand everything that the court personnel went over in these documents?
I understand, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Dublin, I've read your answers. Based on your answers, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. And the attorney that will be appointed to represent you in this case is Attorney Peter Dahl. Attorney Dahl will be given information to contact you. You will also be given information to contact him. Our court coordinator is going to give you that information. Once she gives you that information, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Please have a seat in that first chair by the wall.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next case is cause number 23-CCCR 0058, case of style of state of Texas versus Cesar Geraldo Ramos. Mr. Ramos, would you please come forward? Mr. Ramos, your full name is Cesar Geraldo Ramos?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ramos, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Ramos, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ramos, you may put your hand down. Now, Mr. Ramos, I have before me two documents. The first document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without an Attorney. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
On this document, there are some initials that's on a line that states I want to apply for court-appointed attorney.
Yes,
Did you
sir.
place your initials on that on this document?
Yes, sir.
Also, on the document, there's a document that's titled Jefferson County Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on page 2 of this document above the line that is titled Defendant Signature?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Ramos, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read the document? You had some assistance to fill out these documents, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Ramos, I read your answers. Based on the answers, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. An attorney that will be appointed to represent you in this case is Attorney Charles Rojas. Attorney Rojas will be given information to contact you, and you will also be given information to contact him. Our court coordinator will give you that information. Once you get the information from the court coordinator, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Please have a seat in that third chair by the wall. Next case is clause number 23 CCCR 0654. Case is filed in the state of Texas versus Melvin James Darcy III. Mr. Darcy, your full name is Melvin James Darcy III. Mr. Darcy, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Darcy, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Mr. Darcy, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Darcy? You're doing fine. That's good. Now, Mr. Darcy, I have before me two documents. First document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Are these your initials on the line that state you'd like to apply for a court-appointed attorney? I also have a document that is titled that's titled Jefferson County Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defendant Signature. Is this your signature? Now, Mr. Darcy, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read the documents? Did you understand what you read? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Mr. Darcy, I read your answers. Based on your answers, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. The attorney that will be appointed to represent you in this case is Attorney Giles Cole. Attorney Cole will be given information to contact you, and you will also be given information to contact him. Our court coordinator will give you that information. Once she gives you that information, you'll be free to go. Now, before she gives you that information, I need to have the bailiff to give you some bond conditions. Now, Mr. Darcy, bailiff just handed you a document that is standard bond conditions and county code at law number 2. Do you see that title?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go over this document, which states following the return of a criminal information in county code at law number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas. All bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein are ordered subject to the following additional conditions. Number 1, defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or of the United States. Do you understand that condition? Condition number 2, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol, and the test indicates the presence of drugs and alcohol in the defendant's body. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
And condition number 3, the defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim of the pending offense and shall not go near any residence, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that condition? Now, condition number 4 does not apply because that only applies in a DWI case, and your case is not a DWI case. However, condition number 5 does apply. And condition number 5 states that the defendant is prohibited from possessing a firearm or ammunition unless defendant is a peace officer as defined by section 1.07 of the Penal Code of actively engaged in employment as a sworn, full-time, paid employee of a state agency or political subdivision. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Darcy, if you violate any one of these bond conditions, your bond can be revoked. And if your bond is revoked, the warrant will be issued for your arrest and you'll be placed in the Jefferson County Jail. Do you understand that?
Sir, I do have a quick question. I was out on PR bond, so that's still apply.
You out on a bond, there are three types of bond. You have a PR bond, which is a personal recognizance bond, where you don't pay any money to get out of jail. You have a surety bond, which means you pay a bondsman of the percentage of the bond to get out of jail. And you have a cash bond, which means you pay the full amount of the bond to get out of jail. So you're still out on bond. So it's a bond so just because you're out on a PR bond doesn't mean you don't have bond conditions. All right, just have a seat in that first chair by the wall. Next case is cause number 23CCCR 1490, case of South, the state of Texas versus Joel Munoz Jr. Your full name is Joel Munoz Jr.?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Munoz, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Munoz, did you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Munoz, you may put your hand out. How are you doing, Mr. Munoz?
Good.
Oh, that's Muniz.
Unit.
Munez. Okay, Mr. Munez. I have before me two documents. The first document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without an Attorney. Mr. Munez, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? Or are these your initials on the line that state you'd like to apply for a court-appointed attorney?
Yes, sir.
Also, I have a document that's titled Jefferson County Affidavit of Injuries. Mr. Munez, do you understand? Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Mr. Munez, do you, is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
And now, Mr. Munez, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read the documents?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand what you read?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Mr. Munez, I read your answers in these documents. Based on your answers, you do not meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. Apparently, it seems that you should have a lot of income left over to pay for a court-appointed attorney. And so you do not qualify for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. Now, Mr. Munez, before your case is reset, I'm going to give you some bond conditions. The bailiff is going to hand you these bond conditions. Now, the document that the bailiff has just handed you is titled Standard Bond Conditions in County Court Law Number 2. Do you see that title?
Yes, sir.
And it states, following the return of a criminal information in County Court Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein or ordered subject to the additional conditions. Number 1, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or of the United States. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
Condition number 2, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol. The test indicates the presence of drugs and alcohol in the defendant's body. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
And condition number 3 states that the defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim of the pending offense, and the defendant shall not go near any residence, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that condition?
Last question.
Yes.
It says alleged victim.
Yeah, but in this case, you was charged with unlawfully carrying a weapon, so there is no victim. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, condition number 4 states, condition number 4 doesn't apply because that only applies in the DWI case. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
However, condition number 5 does apply. And condition number 5 on the next page states defendant is prohibited from possessing a firearm or ammunition unless defendant is a peace officer as defined by section 1.07 of the Texas Penal Code, actively engaged in employment as a sworn, full-time, paid employee of a state agency or political subdivision. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Mr. Muniz, if you violate any one of these conditions, your bond will be revoked, and if your bond is revoked, a warrant will be issued for your arrest. And if the warrant is issued for your arrest, you'll be arrested and placed in the Jefferson County Jail. Now, have a seat in that third chair by the wall,
Yes, sir.
and when the court coordinator is ready, she's gonna call you up to a window, reset your case. Once your case is reset, you'll be free to go and you have a place. Now, before you do that, you stated that now you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney. However, you can do one or two things.
Yes, sir.
You can hire an attorney, or you can waive your right to an attorney represent yourself. Give me his paperwork back. Now, what do you want to do? The one with the explanation.
Now, I'll hire an attorney.
You got hire, okay. I just need you to put your initials. Put his initials on the line that says hire, and he's gonna strike through the line that says appointed. He's just gonna put one line through that.
Oh, initial right here.
Okay. Okay. Okay, just have a seat in that third chair. Demetria Rochelle Hayward. Miss Hayward, your full name is Demetria Rochelle Hayward. Ms. Hayward, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Hayward, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Ms. Hayward, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Ms. Hayward? You doing okay? That's good. Now, Ms. Hayward, I have before me a document that is, well, two documents. The first document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. Do you recognize this document?
No.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? And are these your initials on a line that state you want to waive your right to an attorney to represent yourself? I also have a document that is titled Waiver of Counsel for Purposes of Entering a Guilty Plea or Proceeding a Trial. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Now, Ms. Hayward, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read the documents? Did you understand what you read? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Okay, Ms. Hayward, we're gonna have one of the prosecutors that's gonna come out and talk to you in a few minutes, so you can just go back and have a seat. Just bring that to the prosecutors. They have to look up her case. Okay. We got everybody. Okay, the court will be in recess.
Grab back on government.
Okay. Jefferson County Court at law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session. In cause number M331050. The case is style the state of Texas versus Demetria Rochelle Hayward. Ms. Hayward, would you please come forward? Ms. Hayward, again, how are you doing? All right, now, Mr. Hallfire is with the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. Mr. Hallfire, you indicated to the court that you and the defendant has reached an agreement,
Yeah.
and you're asking,
Well, so just to let the court know, discussing the case, what was an offer of the defendant having 60 days to complete an anger management course, either online or through any agency, and proof of that, bringing proof of that, the DA's office by certificate, and DA will agree to dismiss this case. He has no criminal history on her. And this is something we do on cases like this of somebody who doesn't have a criminal record, and this is their only time where they've had trouble with the law. So she'll have 60 days to do that. We'd ask to have a reset for a Tuesday pro se docket, give her time to do that, but I told her she'd do that
we're
early.
gonna do like a 60-day reset?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
To give her time to complete that.
well, Ms. Hayward, you understand what the prosecutor is requesting?
Yes.
And you agreeing to that? Okay, now, give us a reset date. November 27th. Oh, I'm right, this is, okay. November 27th of 2023.
That's a Monday. You want it on a Tuesday?
It
28th?
just- It's the same kind of, like, to put on the same pro se docket on a Tuesday. It doesn't have to be where we have a bunch of other things.
Okay.
set.
Okay, the 28th.
Okay, so it's gonna be
That's the date, but anytime before that, right, pleaded, the certificate to come to the board out any day, Monday to Friday, go for the board. Give it to the law secretary and say this, Kobe is a boss.
Kobe Hoffbauer.
Kobe out.
But
Now,
I get a paper like some.
what, next, well, I'll write, I mean, what you need down, but, the certificate, you gotta, email it, you gotta bring it, and then they'll let me know, and I'll come down and dismiss this day. All right, with proof of that. And I'm writing it in my notes, so if I'm not even here, they know what to do. Okay, all right.
Okay, now, Miss Hayward, I see that you're here with Mr. Reginald Trainer. Is that correct? That's your dad? Okay, now I know Mr. Trainer, he and I are friends. Now, Mr. Trainer, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Okay, now, Mr. Trainer, and just as we disclosing to the district attorney's office that you and I are friends, we've never talked about this case, right? So, in fact, I didn't know anything about the case until you walked in here, and she's on the docket. Okay, now, State, do you have any objections to me presiding over this case if there's any conflict of interest or any appearance of impropriety?
We have no objection, Judge. We don't see a conflict, and we don't see any appearance of impropriety.
Okay, all right, thank you. Now, Miss Hayward, your case is gonna be reset. Now, before your case is reset, we have some bond conditions we need to give you. Okay. Ms. Bailiff, could you hand these bond conditions to Ms. Hayward? Okay, Ms. Hayward, the document that the bailiff has just handed you is titled Standard Bond Conditions in County Court at Law Number 2. Do you see that title? I'm going to go over this document, which it says, following arrest and or accusation in County Court at Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein are ordered subject to the following additional conditions. Number 1, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or of the United States. Do you understand that condition? Condition number 2, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who, A, refuses to submit to test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol, and the test indicates the presence of drugs and alcohol in the defendant's body. Do you understand that condition? And condition number 3, the defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim of the pending offense, and the defendant shall not go near any residence, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that condition? Now, condition number 4 does not apply because that only applies in the DWI case. Your case is not a DWI case, so it does not apply. Now, Ms. Hayward, if you violate any one of these conditions, your bond can be revoked. And if your bond is revoked, the warrant will be issued for your arrest and you'll be placed in the Jefferson County Jail. Do you understand that? Now, your case is going to be reset until November 28, 2023. Our court coordinator is going to give you that reset. Once you get that reset, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. All right. All right. And Mr. Trainer, good seeing you. You'll be free to go. And you have a blessed day as well. Yeah.